Well, there you go. I've got raided. Thank you very much to Valrak and the Valrak raiding party who hit the chat for the last 10 minutes leading up to going live. Yeah, that was very, very amusing. Yeah, that was good. Thank you very much. It was nice of you all to pop along. I'm assuming I might get a second raid at some point, but yeah. We'll see. The Valrak must be laughing right now. I just went over to his stream. He's disabled chat on his stream. Is that why you're all hitting mine? Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's let's catch up on Monday Musing. So, what's going off really? I'll work my way through the chat, but there's a lot going off in the chat, and most of it is just random nonsense coming out from the Valrak gang. So. Still good fun though. Hi Jamie Armstrong, how you doing, mate? Right, what we got going off? Well, Furious George was in first, nice and early at 7:30. That's cool. Steve dropped along not long after. So, and there's been a bit of chat. People doing hobbying, some people not hobbying for a while. I think Orc Boys says he hasn't been in his man cave for since July, which is bad news. Work's been getting in the way. So, right, and then I think after that it was the Valrak raid. So feel free to scroll back up the chat and have a look at it. I'll read out some of the choice ones, maybe, seeing as though they took the effort to do that. There was a wah for Valrak, and Valrak was here, and Valrak fear us heretics. And then it was a raid time, and then it just went a bit crazy, basically, which a bunch of wonderful people, no doubt, which is Gungazam, Lionel Johnson, Dennis Johnson, Chapter Master Valrak himself, Ballsack McGee, lovely name, Reaper _28 Grim, and Game Delta, Abaddon 380, Matthew Spite, Rift Knight. Oh, right, Data Wargaming. Yeah, a whole bunch of you. Thank you very much for popping along and causing mayhem. That was quite funny. And I'm assuming. yeah. People going, what's going off? Well, actually, strangely enough, I've seen some of Valrak stuff, so I kind of realised what had happened there. I don't know who led the charge, but still, thank you very much for popping along. So, I think the chat's Jamie Armstrong's still here. The chat's settling down a little bit. Hashtag Valrak gang. What have we got? Jim Wilson, hey everyone, finally able to do some hobby time after the in-laws have finally left. Good news, Jim. Good to get some hobby time back in. As you know, I've been injured, so not got a lot of hobby time in myself, but I managed to put a couple of things on my desk today, so this was interesting. And picked up a couple of old projects as well, which I wanted to just mess around with, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Akari is in there. Hello, fellow nerds and nerdettes. Hey, Akari, good to see you again. And Jamie Armstrong saying he's only been on this stream once before. What's it all about? Briefly, Wargamer Online is a YouTube channel and a website as well, where we do both free content and premium content. It's predominantly about the hobby side, less about the computer gaming side. So it is about Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, but we also cover a lot of other sort of 28mm scale wargaming and a little bit of X-Wing and all sorts of stuff. So we're expanding. We were only started about 6 months ago. There's about 4 or 5 of us that are kind of active on the channel most of the time. You will see either Sam doing painting tutorials and product reviews with Rachel. So go along and check out some of the battle reports with Sam and Rachel and Mike and a whole bunch of other people. So hop along, and if you want to see the 28mm wargaming side of it. I do a regular slot from an old timers perspective called Monday Musing, where I just basically talk nonsense for an hour and catch up with everyone on the chat and people who are members of the community Facebook page as well. So if you go to Wargamer Online Space Community, there's a Facebook page where people put all their hobby stuff up as well. So that's the brief introduction. And thanks for that, by the way, Jamie, because we rarely ever talk about what all this is about. So thanks for giving me the opportunity. Oh, Gungazam, holy Zog, someone actually pronounced my name right. Okay, well, I hope I got it right. Was that me, or was it somebody else? It might be me. Let's hope so. Right, there's still a lot of Valrak gang stuff going off, but that's good fun. Sean Jewett, Sapbrush Varnishing, one of those evening jobs nasty work. I do feel for you, but it's got to be done by somebody, hasn't it? There's a few people funding Valrak's plastic crack addiction, so obviously covering that. Nice shirt from Furious George there. Cheers, man. I do have a Wargamer Online t-shirt, but believe it or not, I was at a tournament on Sunday and I think I left it there. So I'm not going to explain why I took my t-shirt off at the tournament, but there you go. Sigmar is heresy, or Cigar is heresy. It is for some, and it's gold for others. So we're a broad church at Wargamer Online. Reaper, I'm building up my Bloodraven army slowly but surely, doing the 4th company, but school and stuff has stopped me from doing any more. Bummer. But you've got to concentrate on that education as well, mate, so I feel for you, but squeezing in between, I'm sure you'll keep going forward. Ballsack McGee has said goodbye. Remember, Horus did nothing wrong. I'm kind of with you there, mate. His father was a terrible father. So he got what he got what he. Jamie Paschalit, will we get to see some more Age of Sigmar games featuring Flesh Eater course? Yes, you will. Yeah, I think we are scheduled to film 2 or 3 Age of Sigmar games. So Flesh Eater course, Jack's army, and it's all good to go. We've also got Def as well. Steve, who was right at the top of the chat, has got a Def army as well. So we're going to try and get those 2 filmed as soon as possible. But I would estimate 1 or 2 weeks before, probably 2 weeks before you even start to see some of that dripping through. I know that Sam's got some Age of Sigmar stuff planned as well, but you probably better wait until Friday for news on that in terms of timing, because he's still working pretty heavily on his Primaris stuff. What else have we got? Well, Valrak kindly sent people along. Kablams is in there. Hello, hey Kablams, how you doing, man? Good to see you again. Ralph, when can you expect the next airbrush tutorial? I am editing. There's a laptop just over here with edited content, so I am editing the airbrush tutorial for DVD. Let me see if I can swap the camera over. How about that? No, that's the wrong one. So I'm editing the tutorial for that fellow at the moment. So you'll see some more of that. So and it's pretty much done. I've got the voiceover to do. And a couple bits of graphics and stuff, but and I kind of cover these little fellas as well at the same time. So that's the plan with those. So soon is the answer. I'm hoping. Got a bit of a crazy week. I've got to travel on Thursday, which I didn't know about until this afternoon. So I'm hoping I can try and get them done by the weekend. Right, generic edgelord sent me to. Oh, bless. Thank you very much for sending you guys across. It's been great to have some new subscribers and some new faces on the channel, so thank you. Where are we? Big Mac Danskell, hey Craig, and Stu Rat, t-shirt off, shooting something for Premium Plus, obviously, absolutely. As we know, Mike had to work on How Naked is Too Naked for Gaming, and we found that line. It was pretty horrific. Mark Potter, evening all. Hey Mark, how you doing? Sterling work at the tournament, mate. I've never seen anybody smile through so much defeat. Bless you. So it was good anyway, wasn't it? And you had to play a doubles match on your own, didn't you, as well? So you were up against it. What else have we got? Anybody do any games featuring Blood Ravens? So far, no. And I'm trying to think if anybody's got Blood Ravens chapter paint. I've got a feeling there is somebody in the club that's done Blood Raven, so maybe that's something that could be arranged. Certainly, it's a beautiful looking chapter anyway. Does anybody know how Mike and Sam got on over the weekend? That's from Sean Jewett. Can I say? Should it be his news? Do you really want to know? Oh, I'm just going to tell you. They won. They won the tournament. So that was pretty mental. Wow, Steve Forrest, thank you very much for donating £20 to the channel. You're a star. We did talk about in the last couple of groups the battle reports. We're really trying to pump out more battle reports, and to that extent we wanted a couple more cameras to give us better angles, so we are saving up for those cameras, so that will go a long way. Thank you very much, mate. That's brilliant. What have we got? Right, where are we to? Sorry. Oh yes, Phil, have you started bolt action yet? Absolutely not. Mike has got the starter set. It's at his house. I think I'm either meant to be collecting it or he's meant to be dropping it at Sam's or something like that. But between the 2/3 of us, we haven't got anywhere. Oh, back to Sam and Mike. They won. Yeah, they won. It was really, really close and it was good fun. The very last battle, Sam played his Primaris. And in the very last battle, it was Sam's Primaris and Mike's... Oh, not Primaris, sorry. Sam's Custodians. And Mike had Guilliman and a few Primaris and a few normal Marines. And they were up against this huge sort of Astra Militarum tank army. And it was just mental. Because it was all about, could they get across the board, surviving the barrage that was coming down on them, and then do enough damage for kill points, because the last game was down to kill points. And as it happened in the very last turn, they managed to pull a draw on that game, but they'd won on points in other areas, which put them into first position. I'm sure Sam and Mike will tell you all about it, but they were pretty pleased with it overall. They had some tough games. Sam looked pretty stressed out, so it was quite good. I've got some photos which I'll put up onto the Facebook group, and yeah, you can see the stress in his face. Okay, where are we at? Ralph Hummel saying, "Cool, mate." Right. Lionel Johnson, you seem a really nice guy. I'm glad Farrak sent us over here. Oh, thank you very much. I try to be nice. I try and do my best. But yeah, I'm pretty useless at most of this internet stuff, but I'll do my best anyway. And now I've got to stand up to a good standard. Love the Decapitated Marine. Let's pop that back up then. That was from... Okay, let's see if we can get some focus on here. So this is actually a Terminator that is from one of the big Tyrannid beasties, and I can't remember the name of it now, but it was the opposite of the tentacle one. And it's got its claw crushing him, and this dude happened to just be holding a Marine helmet, which is a standard Marine helmet, but I kind of figured I'd get away with it because it's kind of clutched in his fist. You can't really see it, so just a bit of gore dripping out the back. And I just love the idea of he's kind of ripped this guy's head off, and in my mind he's kind of just scanning the brain of that dude to kind of get some intel out of him or something like that. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that, but thank you anyway. It's a great model, and it's just a spare bit of kit off one of the Tyrannid bases, so definitely worth checking out. I'll see if I can find the actual model later. Reaper_28 Grim, holy hashtags, that's some awesome paint. Oh, thank you very much, man. Much appreciated. If you guys are new to the channel, I've been off my feet for about 6 to 8 weeks because of a back injury where I did some damage to my spine. So that's my first painting since I got back to the desk, and I can only spend sort of an hour or so at the desk at any time. So I'm trying my best to kind of get back to speed, but I'm a little bit out of it. Steve, only Liam. I can't remember what only Liam is referencing to. Oh, Liam hasn't finished. Oh, it's Liam, is it right, who hasn't finished his Ravens yet. There you go. So there is somebody out there with Ravens. So we could probably get Liam on the channel, do a couple of bat reports for that. Kablam's asking 40k doubles on the weekend. Yes, that was the one at the local gaming club, the Leamington Gaming Club, who ran a doubles tournament, and Sam and Mike entered, Jack and Liam entered, who have all been on the channel at some point. Liam was on some chats right at the beginning, but kind of is you know, he's young and he's really unable to commit to anything for more than 5 or 10 minutes, so he hasn't shown up to any of the chats since, but he's a good guy. Yeah, Jack and Liam played side by side. That was a bit of a comedy. They came second to last. Salty Sam strikes again. Oh dear me, I tell you, it was like the Dead Sea there. There was so much salt pouring out. It was quite fun. And Red Cuffs, and I am wounded. Why are you wounded, Mr. Red Cuffs? Wait, I'd just like to tell everybody, removing the belts and helmets from the Dark Imperium Primaris is really hard to do neatly, and you're wounded. Ouch. Oh dear me. Okay, fair enough. Sounds like a nasty hobby accident there. Sam and Mike 1, Super Duper from Icaria, Elster Nations, Missed the Beard. I've missed you, Elster Nation. I was giving you some big love on the last. I took over the Friday chat and it all went a bit mental, didn't it? But I was chatting about my theory that you have a time machine and put yourself into an endless loop so you can pump out 400 models a week because your painting pace is ridiculous. Mr. Pink, hey Mr. Pink, I'm back. You're back. You've been on holiday, haven't you? But thank you very much. Old boy, scalpel wound. Eesh. Right, Jamie Armstrong, 21st Legion is pleased with you, and we shall not orbit and bombard your planet. Awesome. That's good news. That's good news, because bombardment is one of the things I lie awake at night, scared and worried about. Okay, what else have we got? Some lovely comments from Reaper saying, how can I paint so well? Practice, I suppose. You know, I'm old, I'm ancient. If I was a Marine, I would have a flag and carry it around, probably with a different coloured helmet. So, yes, time, patience, and Sam does wonderful tutorials on our channel. So go along and check out his channels, because he can turn, you know, Sam's got a great way of doing some very basic techniques that really show, that really get great results. So pop along and see some of his quick tips on YouTube. And I think there's a few full tutorials on YouTube, but I have to say most of the full tutorials are on the premium side of the website. And again, for all of you new people, that's essentially how we kind of fund this channel and stuff. Although, as you can see from the side of the screen there, there's people who are kind enough to donate as well to help us try and get going forward. But the general model is we run a premium channel at $2.99 a month. Saying that, we also put up full content on the freemium section, so you don't have to pay that subscription. You just need to register the website and you get access to some of that stuff through freemium as well, because we've got to spread that love, that hobby love. Okay, where are we going? Red Cuff, Stu Rat, have we met before somewhere else? I think there's some love going off in there. Will there be a celebration of Sam and Mike dancing to You? I've had the time of my life from Dirty Dancing. No. But it'd be great to see, wouldn't it? It's got to be Sam lifting Mike, hasn't it? Nobody puts Mike in a corner. That would be good. Okay, right. What else have we got going off? Heretics, Icaria, totally got that from the Money Supermarket advert. Right, okay then. That's from Steve. And Ferris, hello. I'm pretty new to the channel, but I was wondering how active you are on Twitter. I don't have Facebook, would like to join in any new WGO Chronicle type challenges up and coming. Yes, when we do, certainly Sam posts relatively regular to Twitter. And you can find a link on our website to the Twitter, and I think we also put a link to Twitter inside the descriptions on the video as well, if I remember rightly, and if not, I'll make sure we add it into the chat. But also, when we ran the competitions, they were hashtags, so the last sort of community effort we did was the WGO Chronicles, which was a 40k starter, and that was all under the hashtag WGO Chronicles. We intend to do a new one towards the end of the year, at the turn of the new year, so keep a lookout for that. But we will try and post more on Twitter as well, so we appreciate not everybody's on Facebook. So I hope that helps. There is stuff up there, definitely. There's a lot of heretical stuff going off there. I heard all the Mises thanks. That's Ulster Nation. Yeah, sorry, I did make a Misi joke. all the Mies say thanks. I did make a Misi joke as well. I said you just press a box and you go, "Hi, Elston, can you paint another model for me?" For those of you Rick and Morty fans out there. Jamie Armstrong's off, so good night and goodbye, and thanks for joining us. That's cool. Right, He-Man Skeletor could be done. Thanks for drop podding in at Jamie. And what else have we got to go now? Plot twist, full beard is fake and glued on. That is not true. I actually lift a small piled up with my beard because she wanted to test its strength. So we went to visit some friends the other weekend, and they've got a 6-7-year-old daughter, and she was like, "Is your beard strong enough to pick me up?" And I was like, "I don't know, let's try it." My God, it hurt, but yes, my beard is strong enough to pick someone up. So that is not, well, it could be glued on, it could be super glue. Right, okay then, what have we got going off? Michael, Meg, lots of chat. Shut up, Meg. Okay, I think I've more or less caught up with the chat. Ferris saying yes, that would be great. So what's on the desk? Well, there's a few things I'm working on at the moment. Let's have a look at this. So one of the things that I picked back up was this smaller avatar. So this is my Forge World avatar, which for various reasons decided to pass on to somebody else. So I've not it's a long story, but I want to upgrade the compressor for the airbrush, so I'm selling a bunch of miniatures. So decided to get rid of my large Forge World avatar, which I do like, but the thing is as well is I kind of wanted to have a go at painting this avatar and seeing what I could make of it, and partly because I'd played this in the game, and whilst it's a beautiful model, I kind of felt the stats of the game were probably better represented by a smaller model. Plus, you know, I'm not going to lie, probably helps with line of sight. The one thing I didn't like about it was proportionally the model wasn't that great. So what I've actually done, as you can see here, and this hasn't actually been, you know, this is just a base layer of green stuff at the moment, but I've extended the torso so he stands a little bit taller. And this was all about trying to produce an avatar of Cain that was in a similar scale, if you like, to the Inari, you know, avatar, the Incarn. And you know, the only thing is, I was just looking at this. I was trying to kind of assess how big the body is, because I haven't actually built this yet. But as you can see, that's actually a leg, and I was like, well, okay, that makes it, you know, a similar scale to this avatar. This is the leg down here, and as you can see, against the other avatar leg. I just think, you know, the two will sit side by side. And although this is a future project that I'll get round to at some point, I've just not quite made my mind up on this yet, so the project stalled a little bit. Well, I've decided to pick it up and do a little bit of green stuff later, just because I haven't done any modelling for a long time, so I just want to get that finished off. So what I did was I've spent a bit of time online just looking up various bits of artwork to try and get some inspiration. And as I was doing all of that, I came across the Eldar, the Dark Elf, the Dark Elf, Daughters of Cain, nasty thing, which is the wrong one. Hold on a second, let's see if I can get it up here. There we go. Which of course also has the avatar of Cain, but has the avatar of Cain from fantasy. And I have to say, I've kind of discounted this one because, you know, the pose is a bit, you know, I don't think you can just take it and stick it on a base. The kind of straight out arms kind of doesn't look right. But I discounted it because I also thought the feet were side by side. But now I can actually see it's in a walking pose. I'm pretty tempted to have a go at converting that into a 40k avatar of Cain. And again, going for a similar pose, bring this arm forward, take that arm back, twist the top of the torso, maybe work on these little spikes on the model and turn them into flames, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so I've got a whole bunch of what shall I do with all of that nonsense going off in my head while I'm trying to actually remain focused and continue to work on that. I think where I'm left wondering about this one is I actually think when you put the two, this is the base from the Incarn. And as you can see, it's actually, even at a 60mm base, this is still quite small. So I don't know whether I've just gone too small with this avatar, and maybe I was shooting at the wrong tree. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to swap that over. This is actually the second one I've done. I did the one with the spear. I decided I didn't like the spear. I swapped to this for the sword. And now I've decided I'm not too 100% certain on this. So I'm very fickle when it comes to my avatars. So there's a lot of hobby confusion going off on the desk at the moment. Let's have a wee catch up on the chat. Okay, where we are. A lot of beard stuff. I think a full chapter battle versus Chaos Incursion would be epic. Agreed. And I know that obviously we've got Well, if you're talking about the Blood Ravens, absolutely, but we're scaling up the games as we go along as well, and the new camera equipment is going to push us along with that, so we can spend less time filming and more time gaming, which enables us to scale the games up. Oh, where are we now? Helmet's off. It's a bit messy. There's a bit of blood pressure. It's below 90. Oh dear. You'll be fine. Yeah, I know. Akari has just put, yes, that's how I got my back problems. Yeah, yeah, my wife wasn't pleased when she saw me messing about with that, honestly. And it wasn't, there's a disconnect between my brain and my back problems where I carry on behaving as if everything's okay and then get into a whole bunch of trouble. Bit of filthy Eldar, apologies for that, but that's where I started in 40k. Right. Lift with your knees, not your beard. Good point. Right, so much heresy. Must spam. There you go. Fair enough. Cheers, mate. Furious George, why is there no orc love between the WO team? Yeah. Well, I love orcs, and I've always said I wanted to do orcs, and given my nature of tinkering with plastic art and scrap and making all sorts of gadgets and stuff like that, then it probably would be ideally suited to me. I think we're both Sam's thinking about a new army. I don't think he'd do orcs though, because he likes small elite armies, so I don't think it will be Sam. So orcs will either fall to me, or Mr. Pink has an orc army, but he's just been very busy lately, so I'm pretty sure. Matt, if you're still on the chat, can you come back and tell me whether you've got an orc army, and if so, do you think we could manage a bat report? Because I do love the orcs. I have to say, though, I'm kind of half waiting for them to do the Orc treatment to the orc range a bit and give us some beefy new models, but we'll see. I mean, I was watching some of the Warhammer TV chats today. I was just sort of on random play going back, where they did actually mention there is going to be a bit of love going towards Xenos as well, so it's not all about the central storyline of Marine versus Chaos. But maybe that was just the game designers trying to keep us interested, but it was an interview with a couple of game designers and a model designer. So, and interestingly enough, when they mentioned Xenos, the first thing they said is one thing about the Chaos Rift across the galaxy is the orcs have got a hell of a lot more reach now because they're just popping in and out of the warp. So hopefully we'll see some orc love, and it would be good to see some orcs on the channel. So let me have a word with the powers that be and see if we can find someone to bring their army in. Oh, that's the other point. One of the other things of doing with the cameras in the studio that we've got set up is we will be able to do guest bat reports as well. So if there's people in the UK or willing to get to the UK with an orc army, then you definitely will see some orc love. Right, okay, what have we got? I'm just jumping up and down the chat now. That conversion would look sweet. It looks like quite a hack though, that plastic one, but I would say too. Phil, if you had to decide, would you say preferred Age of Sigmar or 40k or equal? That would have been really easy to answer probably about 1.5 2 years ago, because I definitely would have said 40k. Then I really got into Age of Sigmar and really enjoyed it. And I don't even think I've anywhere near peaked in terms of discovering more about Age of Sigmar. I'm really starting to enjoy it and the mechanic of it. I mean, interestingly enough, with the 40k game, I had a 40k game at the weekend, and I think it's the first time I've played a game where I felt the pain of not having a codex release yet. And I was playing Eldar versus Necron, and it just feels like, you know, they did a sterling job of giving everybody a new rule set at the launch of 8th edition. And, you know, I'm not going to take that away from them. I think they did an absolutely sterling job. But I feel that until your codex arrives and you're working out of those battle books, the armies lack depth. Personally, they've lost some of their depth, and it felt like I was playing like a light version of 40k, I suppose, and then that's an oversimplification, because obviously they have made it lighter, they've made it faster, but I just mean it's a light in terms of depth. I didn't feel there was enough to the armies, whereas I think a lot of the armies inside Age of Sigmar now, there's a great deal of depth and fun to be had tactically. You can do things, and they feel quite unique. And it was the weirdest thing ever to be playing Necrons versus Eldar and feeling like we weren't mirrored, but there was so many similarities between units. You know, we were looking at units and going, yeah, that's just Wraithguard, isn't it? You know, and oh yeah, and you know, they're just, you know, like a warlock or whatever. There was so many comparisons where it was almost too similar, and so right now, if I had to make a decision, it would be Age of Sigmar. I think because it has the depth that 40k is yet to reacquire. Saying that, both Tyranids and Eldar are supposedly getting some Codex love next month, and that will probably change everything for me. It must be said, importantly, I play Craftworld Eldar and not the Inari Eldar sort of thing, the Eldari. I think if you're playing them, you can pack a punch, and there's a little bit more going off with that army. But if you're Craftworld at the moment, it feels very vanilla. So I'm hoping they address that with the Codex. Long answer, sorry, kablams. Right, MCM 1966. Evening all, evening sir, or ma'am. MCM. It's hard to tell gender. I think. So let's not offend. Let's just go with evening. You. Matthew Spite. Well, I'm going to head off. See you guys on the battlefield. Thank you, Matthew, for joining us. That was a while ago, so I've probably missed you already. Sean Jewett. Phil, reading or listening to anything in particular at the moment? I have got the truth of that is no. I've got a lot of work on at the moment, and I am having to read up on all sorts of stuff and industries and stuff that I've never been involved in before, just to kind of bend my head round. And so that is taking up my nighttime reading at the moment. Plus, obviously, trying to get well and do stuff for the channel. But I will maybe go through some audio book collections and have a chat about those on maybe one of the future musings. Actually, it might be good to cover some of the audio books because I do love the 40k audio books. Right, okay. Eldar are my favourites in 40k, but really love Age of Sigmar. Skirmish right now. Not even tried that yet. That's how shocking that is. Blams is thinking the same as me. Oh, sorry, me, Mr. Cause your geeks ain't here for loving or you're for fighting. Reaper's doing some awesome stuff in terms of giving us some orc language throughout the chat there. Thanks, Reaper. Kavalams, I think the same as you, Phil. I'm enjoying both, but Age of Sigmar is holding my attention at the moment. Yeah, I think it's going to be time, you know. What have we got? I'm preferring Sigmar to 40k right now from Steve. Ralph, I love Age of Sigmar, but also thinking about starting 40k soon as the Death Guard Codex is out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Mortarion looks super interesting. You know, I was looking at the let me see, the stats for Mortarion, and the model just look beautiful. Let's just get this up. Cracking, isn't it? So we've got the Death Guard coming out. Great video. Love these models. I really like these. Somebody talked about the hint of Primaris, Nurgle, or Demon Marines, but I don't think it's needed. Is it? Is it needed? These look beautiful. Why would you need Primaris versions of them? But check out that box set with loads of cards and dials and tokens in. What more could you want from a Nurgle? But this is it, isn't it? This is what it's all about. It's all about this chap. Absolutely loved it. Jack noticed something interesting. We've seen this sculpted where the scythe and the pistol swap hands. And it's not a reverse of the image. The head and body remained in the same position. So it looks like you can choose whether he's left or right-handed with the scythe, unless it was a conversion, because you'd absolutely expect the hand to be part of the shaft of that weapon in terms of modelling. So it was quite a surprise, but it was, I think, in the White Dwarf, in the image of him in the White Dwarf, the scythe and the pistol are in opposite hands. And like I say, they've not just mirrored the image, because the head remained looking to the left. This left leg was still raised at the knee and all the rest. It was literally just swapped the two arms over. So if anybody knows about that, it's pretty interesting that they're allowing you to choose whether he's left or right-handed. Either way, cool. What a beautiful model, and really looking forward to that. Jack's on it, so we'll hopefully be able to get an unboxing of that sorted. Stats wise, just an absolute beast, isn't he? Come on, look at this. Oh, 18 wounds, 12-inch move. Yep. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun, isn't it? And, you know, toxic presence, subtract 1 from toughness within 7-inch. I love that. That's so thematic. But that's exactly a classic case of what I was saying, that the armies that haven't received codex yet, I just think they lack some of that fun that comes with the army and uniqueness to a degree. So I want to see more of that, please. I want to see more of sort of faction-specific effects that come out of either HQs or significant models or heavy supports or something like that. This host of plagues, roll the dice for each enemy unit that's within 7-inch at the start of the fight phase, and consult Mortarian's damage chart. If the roll equal or exceeds the required value, the unit being rolled for suffers D3 mortal wounds. So just even getting near him is going to be very, very painful, which makes him obviously something you want to shoot high heaven, and at least the wound count means you're going to be able to target him, but it's 18 wounds, you know, and I don't know whether his full stats are out yet, but one can only assume he's going to be benefit from the 5-up reroll on all wounds, maybe, that make Nurgle so tough right now, just so incredibly tough. I can't imagine them not giving him that particular ability. Right, let's catch up on chat, see what people are saying. Whoop, click down too fast. Oh no, I think I'm okay. Right, where were we? It's thank you MCM, apologies for that. Phil, have you been an RPG gamer or just a miniature gamer? I started off as a roleplay gamer, but very quickly moved into miniature, so I doubt you'll even find a reference to this game anymore, but my first roleplay game was Tunnels and Trolls. It wasn't even D&D. Tunnels and Trolls got me into miniature painting, got a little Hobbit, because of course I played a Hobbit, because what other character would you play? That's where everybody started back in that day. I got a little Hobbit model, I painted that model. I got another Hobbit model, and I think I've told you about this one. It turned out to be a pygmy. Someone sold me a dud. I painted that and really, really enjoyed that, and I'll find it out because it was my second painted model and I've still got it. It's not... I doubt it would survive close inspection, but I'm still relatively pleased with it because it was my second painted model. And played a bit of D&D, but by then Fantasy first edition was out, and very quickly got into building the first edition. And I lived in a place called Derbyshire, which is next door to Nottinghamshire, which is where Games Workshop was based. So we used to go to the open days and pick up big boxes of lead and all the rest, and created these big fantasy armies that weighed about 18 tons to transport. But yeah, great fun. But RPG, very quickly into miniature gaming. Robert, hi, just came back to say hi, busy at work at the moment. Hello, good to see you. Sorry you're at work. There's more. Reaper's just giving it more spam throughout the chat. Bless you. Can't wait for Mortarian from Fozzie Wozzie. And Ferris, someone must have answered this before, but what does everyone think of the 30th anniversary figure? You were a little underwhelmed. Let's see. Yes. What are we doing? It looks like we've got a raid going off again, but we'll come. Balrak, thank you very much for the second raid. Yeah, what did we think? What do we think to the 30th anniversary model? So far, I'm getting exactly the same as I was looking for the post actually, but that's not it. Yeah, oof. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Do you want to have a quick look? Yeah, underwhelmed. Underwhelmed, but you know, that's not the end of the world, is it? I've clicked on it. I'm not quite sure where that's. Oh, it's taking me to shopping for it. Useful. Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? You know, and at the end of the day, do you celebrate with a big character, or do you celebrate with something that represents the rank and file, I suppose? So, yeah, I'm with you. Bit underwhelmed, but you know, if I was collecting Primaris, I might go for it. I think Sam was put off a little bit by the price, but you know, these things are generally the idea that it's an anniversary model might just tip people over paying the extra ones. There's a one-man raid going off from Data Wargaming. Thank you. You keep raiding. That's awesome. I love that as well. You're just there on your own, just doing it. I like that. Ralph, I'm really excited about the new models that will be released for Death Guard. Can't wait to get my hands on the Codex. Nope, Jack's absolutely with you on that one. Kablams, anyone who's seen the monster customization in today's Age of Sigmar article on the community? You can boost your beast. Let's have a quickie look. I think it was this one, wasn't it? There you go. Do you want to go boosting your beast? Monster upgrades for the Beast Wars. What can we do? D6. Beast refuses to give in. So subtract 3 from the numbers of wounds suffered by the monster to a minimum of 0 when determining which row on its damage table to use. Oh, it's just mean. Come on. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I like it. I did have a quick read of it earlier, but it's nice, isn't it? Again, this is what I'm talking about, with a bit of depth to the game, and it will come to 40k. I'm absolutely sure. I'd like to see something similar for vehicles, to be honest, in 40k, and I think it's the one thing that I think deserves a little bit of focus. Having seen the tournament games and having played a few games, I think vehicles just need a bit more adding to them for me. I don't want to get back to a massively cluttered rule system, but the fact that for all intents and purposes they're really indistinguishable from any other unit in the game at the moment is where I feel it's missing something. Am I hyped for Necromunda now we know when it's coming? Have you played it in the past? If so, which gang? I didn't play it in the past. My friends in my gaming group all played it, but it was at a time when I was working on this huge project, and I was trying to get, I think at the time it was about 3,000 points worth of orcs done for fantasy. So I was really focused on that. So I saw the games, it looked good. Am I hyped for it this time round? Too damn right I'm hyped for it. I'm really, really looking forward to it. We've got lots of scenery. In fact, actually that's probably a good call. One of the things, let me see if I can, there we go. This is one of the things I was trying to have a look at earlier. This is, ignore the fact I'm looking at my own photo albums and a bunch of stuff. Hold on a second. Because in here was a whole bunch of stuff on the city board we were working on. See if I can get this. So I'm going to go through this quickly. What time is it now? It's 22. So let's have a look. Because one of the things I wanted to talk about was a little bit more about the projects we've got going off at the moment. So this is a city board we're working on, but as you can see it's a custom one, and this one was the start of a canal section. So what I've done here was I'm just gonna give me a second, guys. I want to see if I can get the cursor. Can you see the cursor now? Awesome, that will help. So what we've done is put these sections out here and then taken some in-depth sections to try and match the width. And essentially what I was working on was a canal section. So I was patching things together using plastic glue and hot glue gun and little plates to stick this back together again. It gave me these wonderful sections that came out as well, which I can use as walls. I think that's pretty cool. So we're going to do some nice high Necromunda-y kind of big walls. This was the plastic card going in, and this is the surface of the water. So it will have water effects in, but the water effects are going to be like 2 mil. Just to give it kind of, you know, a little bit of depth. And as you can see, that was building it up. And then I realized I wanted to raise the bridge. So we were making the canal section there. So the idea was it would flow all the way across at least 4 foot of the board. And then I was just having a look at how cool that would make a building. And as you can see, started to work a little bit more, started to get unsatisfied with it. So I decided to raise the bridge section. So I hacked into this with like, oh man, saw, knives, tools. That's actually quite soft plastic, so it is doable, all of this. And I raised this up, did a little bit of work with sort of filling and spacing it out. And as you can see now, I started to raise the 2 bridges, go over the canal. And then I wanted to kind of sit in the dark for a bit. And then we started to add some side sections and the little tubes and those kind of things. And still trying to stick with stuff that was broken off in the section. So I wanted this part of the bridge broken, and as you can see now, I'm starting to add pipes and details and little walkways, little walk ladders out to the pipe work into the canal. So this is going to be some horrible gunky canal with water effects dripping into and filling this hole here, and you know, all sorts of spewy green and brown horrible gunk with bits floating in the canal and those kind of things. And all the while you see I'm adding sort of detail to the bridge here, putting the edge strips on and putting little vents and stuff like that, and more little power packs, and then some kind of weird little box in the center there that I'm sure is some kind of pump house or something like that. So geez, and as you can see, just layering up the detail. So this is just right, okay, as you can see, this just sort of formed just a small section of the city board and where we intend to take it, including broken defense lines on the city limits. I'm just going to go through this quickly because this was just work at the start really, where I was hacking away. Oh yeah, here you go. So I'm hacking away from the road onwards. So I left the pavement in place and started to hack away. It looks like, yeah, there you go. So what I'm doing, once I've hacked those sections out, I'm now sticking ply in place and adding a whole bunch of detail into there. So yeah, you get the idea. And obviously the idea of this is a city limit wall with sort of, you know, broken down bomb sections, and this forms the desert that matches the desert board I've already built. So that's a big project, and it's the one I keep joking about getting Sam and Mike and everybody over to help me paint, because as you can see, I then started to take the city limits and build forward from it, including little broken up road sections and those kind of things. So yeah, a lot of work gone into the board already, and you know what, I don't know how many photos are in this section, and it could go on for a long time. So actually, let me just go back and explain what was going off there. So again, what I wanted was the road disappearing into the desert. So this will be built up with sand and texture and all the rest, and there'll be bits of the road poking through. And why have I done it like that? Well, it was offcuts. It's as simple as that. I got these little broken sections and just trying to create as much board out of it as possible. So this is 2 layers of 5mm ply or 4mm ply, making it 8 overall. This plastic stuff sits on the bottom layer along with the second layer of ply to fill it out. And as you can see, building it up, adding filler and texture and little bits of things, and yeah, you're getting an idea of where I'm going with it now. This sort of outer city limit, where the road was to sort of feed the munitions and all the rest into this section here. And the idea that these are the broken up sections of the defense line, but also the crater here on the outside, which was just hitting the desert, so it's just rough ground really. And there you go, painting a whole bunch of texture on. Oh my, I put so much work into this. Right, okay, that's back to the beginning. That was actually a memorial garden at the very end there, which I worked on, and that's actually complete as well. So I've got all of these city board sections available for painting, and we really need to get them done, but it's taken a whole bunch of time. So it will be good to get it done, and it will be good to start doing some battle reports on that. And more importantly, that was a long answer, but as you can see, that, along with all the buildings that are created for it, will make a brilliant Necromunda table, as well as the new Armageddon scenery. But, you know, I think we can also do the Breakdown City and all those kind of things. I'm just pretty excited by all of that. Valrak for life. Thank you very much, Data Wargaming. Reaper's off. Goodbye, mate. Thanks for joining us. That was cool. Surreal keeps forgetting I'm alive. Oh, bless you. I don't forget you. I was talking about you today, actually, to my wife. I mentioned the comment, which was the what was it now? Fraggle Rock. The Fraggle Rock comment, which was just great fun. Reminded me of a huge chunk of my childhood. I used to love that. Horny Morny, just check the White Dwarf Mortarian's weapon can be set up both ways. It's not a conversion. There you go. That's fantastic. So Jack probably looked at the pictures but didn't read the narrative. So thanks for confirming that. The store birthday Primaris captain is much better. Well, it's our store birthday coming up in Leamington, so we'll be popping down to see Chris there and see what's going off. So we'll check that out as well. Furious George at Ferris. I put a poll out on the community Facebook. Not much love. not sure what that is referring to, but I'll go back and check that out if someone can confirm that. Oh, wait, that must have been for the model. So yes, probably not much love. They've said that vehicle design system from 2nd edition is coming to 40k. They will be starting with just rhinos. Yeah, I suppose to a degree that's my fear. It's going to be a long time before we all feel the love. I'd rather them approach it as vehicles as a whole than unit by unit. But anyway, we'll get there. DJ, the lucky one, says hi. Hi, DJ. Thanks for joining us. That's cool. How are we doing for time? I've probably got about 10 minutes, and I've talked about third of what I was going to talk about, so that's about right for an hour, isn't it? 40k Venice. Kablam saying it's going to be glorious. Thank you very much, mate. That's great. I hope so. I hope we'll get there soon. It should be good. There's enough to do. Basically, the way the board was designed is you can do the desert board 6x4. You can then introduce the city limit board, which gives you a 6x4 board. Of which the deployment zone of one army, that 12 inches, that deployment zone is the city front line. So that becomes the deployment zone. You can then obviously progress that forward to the outer limits of the city, and then you can go full city board. And then from city board, we kind of get into the Armageddon scenery, into kind of an industrial complex. And then from there was the Mine Mortalis board that I built. And for those of you who were on the chat at on the channel at the start, it was one of the things I covered quite a bit on Facebook. But at the moment, the board's built, and I have to say, because 8th edition came out and it's left Zone Mortalis in the air a little bit about which rule system to use, and the fact that Blast have gone, and you could still use 8th edition rules, but sorry, 7th edition rules. And you'd have to, really, because there's a whole bunch of special rules around how blast weapons behave and those kind of things. So it would be nice to see an update of Zone Mortalis so we could do some more games for that. But for those of you who didn't see the Zone Mortalis board when it was up, I think I can probably find that. Crikey, that was some time ago. Zone Mortalis, oh, Mine Mortalis, as I called it. Let me see, here we go. So this was a whole bunch of work that went into right from scratch. This was right from starting from, let's just bring this image up because it's quite funny. So this was a test model. This is the blue modeling foam, and I cast these. I created a master and cast these in resin because I knew I'd need about 400 of them by the time I'd finished. And the reason those little things were done is so I could essentially drop my own doors in, basically. And as you can see, that went on to quite a bit of work, and this was adding the rock face texture to it. So this was using a heat gun to blast it away and those kind of things. And then we started to sort of add texture and little bits of boards like this where, you know, vehicle parking bays and things like that. What else? Let me see if I can get down to something that shows it. There's the endless list of beams I had to paint. That was just crazy. It was just drove me up the wall. But it was worthwhile because, as you can see, it started to take place with the ladders, the little vents, and all of these could take custom doors that I actually 3D mastered. It was my inspiration, if you like, for the color scheme and where I wanted to get to with sort of lighting and lighting effects and those kind of things. And I don't think actually this goes as far. Doesn't go as far as finally painted, but I did post some stuff up. But just to give you an idea where we got to with detail, so I was hooking lighting up and running wire to the lights, and then broken lights on the floor with bits of wires hanging down. Now it doesn't look too bad when you look at this level of detail going off and broken drill bits in the walls. It doesn't look too bad until you get a sense of the scale of how big this job was. In the end, there was enough to do. There's just some of the boards in storage. In the end, there's enough to do a 6 foot by 4 foot board. So, and that's a 4 foot by, that's showing the 4 foot by 4 foot section. It actually went on enough to do 6 foot by 4 foot. And then I went on and created the contents of a buried hive ship. So it was just, yeah, a lot of work. But the idea was you could go right from the outdoor desert right into that sort of Zone Mortalis game and take the battle underground, if you like. So that's where we're at. That is going to form the backdrop of, I think, probably the first big 40k campaign we do for the channel. But as you know, we're still building up. Time is still an issue for a lot of us, and also just the funds to kind of get all of that set up and get the room set up perfectly to be able to film quickly and to have enough people editing. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're building up slowly, but hopefully, I think that will form the backdrop probably to our first sort of campaign-based game, which will be great fun to do. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Right, okay, then what have we got? Typical Black Country Canal. Yep, I've fished a few of them. Big Met Danskill looks amazing so far. I think that's probably down to the city board, but thank you very much, mate. Let's have a look. Elston Nation, if you get that board painted up, I would gladly come up for a battle. Elston, you're welcome anytime, mate. Might even persuade Spud to come down. That would be good. It's been a while since I've seen that big hairy Spudness. But it was good when we all met up last time. So yeah, we should do it again. Karia is giving everybody a shout out for the community page and check out the website and support us, etc., etc. So thank you very much, Karia. You are always out there pimping out Meg. Is that Mike? Ah, dear me. Right. Okay, so pimping out Meg would lose money. Probably. Oh, I don't know. It'd be worth spending a bit of time with, surely. Where are we at then? Where are we at? What else did I want to cover? I had so much. I suppose the last thing to talk about then is I mentioned I'm wanting to get to a position where I can upgrade the airbrush compressor. The issue I was having with my current compressor is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It worked perfectly well, but it's quite noisy. So after spending a bit of time talking to Steve at Barwell Bodyworks, and also I put out a question on the community page about what people would thought of the Bambi Silent compressors, basically, and I got nothing but love for them. So I have been eyeing up one of these wonderful little compressors. So this is in their budget range, which is okay, you know, for people just starting out in airbrushing. That's a lot of cash, and there are budget options. And in fact, the guys at Barwell Bodyworks, I was chatting to Steve today, they actually have one of their budget compressors for £80, and he was saying the distinction with this one over a lot of the ones you get is this actually has a cooling fan as well, which really you know, helps keep it, you know, because obviously the smaller ones have to run more constantly. That helps keep it cool, so it's a good idea, helps ventilate air around it. But I've been looking at this one because it would be, I could sit underneath my desk, and from what they're telling me, runs really silently. So there's almost no, you know, no noise from them whatsoever. So that's what I'm eyeing up, and it's why I'm selling a bunch of models, and I've sold my old compressor already, or at least got a buyer for it. So I'm working on that, and I want to get that set up and get started again back on the airbrushing as soon as possible, so I can get more tutorials out there. But so that's exciting. I'm pretty excited about that. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look how shiny it is. And if any of you guys want any information on that, you know, give Steve at Barwell Bodyworks. If you're in the UK, give him a call. He's a really top chap, and he'll spend time chatting to you. So he's worth checking out. But yeah, they're cool. I even like the shape of it. It's got like a UFO kind of shape thing going off. I'm so much a tackle tart. Right, okay then. What's it going off? Crazy Hippo says, Surreal says, oh sorry, let's jump back up a second. Surreal says you should have done vids on assembling those boards. I did shoot some video. I've actually got some video, so we will be editing those and put them up. The reason I haven't done anything with it is because I wanted to kind of tell the full story. So I wanted to go from assembling them to painting them, and they have sat unpainted for 6 months. I mean, literally, that was pretty much most of that work was done prior to the channel going live. But it is, I'd say, a day of modelling to get to the point where they're ready for painting. And if I could convince Sam and everybody else to come round for a day of painting, I think we could pretty much break the back of the board in one day, really. So it's not far off. And if we did that, we'd film a bunch of it, and I could wrap up those videos and put them on the channel. So I did film some. Tricky to film because obviously they're big pieces, so getting it on camera and getting it obvious what I was working on. But I did indeed film some, particularly around creating your own textures and all the rest. And I did that both for the City board and the Zone Mortalis board. And in fact, the Zone Mortalis board has got better video footage of it. Crazy Hippo, it's what I have and it's great. Well, that's great. That's fantastic news, because it's always reassuring to know that you're going in the right direction in terms of your choice. And Crazy Hippo says it's silent but it ain't small. No, I have checked the measurements on it. It's gonna have to go somewhere. Could Barwell Bodyworks help me get a 6-pack, huge biceps and really firm glutes? How much is a monthly membership? Yeah, I think you're thinking about the wrong bodywork there, Icaria, but bless you. Kablam says, holy crap, he's been trying to convince himself to spend £60 on a compressor. Yeah, I'm not denying it. It is expensive for a compressor, but as I've said, I've got a bunch of stuff of models I can sell, and you know, so and I've got a bunch of kits that I can sell as well, and I think really it's going to be a worthwhile investment. When I spoke to Steve about it, I was sort of saying, you know, is it really worth that over this? You know, if people were to ask me, is it worth it over the £60 compressors? You know, what would you say? And you know, his point was the one he's currently using, and bear in mind that this is a guy who airbrushes for a living, is I think he said it was 16 years old now and still running. And he says we carry it around, take it to shows, bash it around. He did touch wood at this point because he didn't want to risk his luck on it. But yeah, it's been running for 16 years, so he couldn't recommend them any more than that. And to be honest, you know, that kind of, I'm seeing that as a long-term investment, hopefully. So that will be around for a long time. Whereas with my other compressor, you know, I was into my second one, although this second one hadn't had much use. The first one got hammered. Okay. Right. Icaria, check out Barwell Bodyworks for your airbrushing needs. Supply Badger Airbrush and Minotaur paint range. Check out the Ghost Tint range. I love Ghost Tint. I love the Ghost Tint range. It's tricky to work with. But and what I mean by that is it remains soluble to water, so you've got to be careful how you like coat on top of it and those kind of things. But oh my god, does it make color schemes punch out. And in fact, actually, I'm doing an airbrush tutorial. The first thing I'm going to do when I get my new air compressor in is going to be a tutorial on the Necron. Oh, help me out here. It's the big transcendent dude. So, and I have an idea with a paint scheme that's going to be relatively basic, but then using ghost tints to really make the colors punch out. Elster Nation, I'll be intrigued to see how quiet they are because there are many me's will be very heavy. Yeah, okay, well, I'll do a video on it and show you, but like I say, I think that seems to be the main driver for that compressor is just super quiet. So Steve says it's like sitting next to your fridge, basically. So you know, he says it's, you know, it makes a similar noise. It's very quiet. And Crazy Hippo is indeed confirming that's one of the reasons he bought it. So that's, it's no louder than a fridge. There you go. It must be somewhere that's in the sales pitch then, isn't it? Anonymous Psych, bunch of kids to sell, assuming I got that wrong. No, I haven't got a bunch of kids to sell, a bunch of kit to sell. No, I'm not into selling children, no. No, bunch of kits, a bunch of armies that never quite made it there and those kind of things. So, and I've already got a buyer for some of it. So I think I'm about 2/3 of the way there to being able to afford that airbrush, which is good news. Right. And with it having a large tank, it can almost non-stop for 4 hours without getting stupid hot. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well, is the large tank capacity means it can keep going. The Tesseract Vault, it's the yes, it is indeed the Tesseract Vault, but it's just the dude in the center of it I'm working on. He comes as a separate model, doesn't he? It's Transcendent, I think. Is it Catan? Satan? I'm gonna go with Catan, as in Boudica. Catan. We'll go with Catan. I wish Peach. Crazy Hippo. I wish Peach. I would probably find myself out of a home if the wife found her. That must be a comment to some peach. Oh, but it's selling the kids. Yep, right, I got you. Transcendent Catan. Yep. Right, what have we got? Hi all, this is Slippy Tiger. Can't stay. Do you think WDO would ever do painting and basing scenery and conversion composition? Painting and basing scenery and conversion composition. Yes, probably. I don't see why not. You know, as we've seen, there's a little bit on scenery there. I think if you've just joined us, you've probably just missed the segment where I was talking about the city board and the Zone Mortalis board we've done. So yes, there will be video footage of that. In terms of the sort of doing composition and conversion, yeah, I don't see why not. We should do some more of that. Elster Nations 22 and 45 could fall asleep listening to my voice. I should do audiobooks. Oh, bless you, Elster Nation. You are an angel. Nightbringer. I've done Nightbringer already. This is my brother's Necrons. And in fact, actually, why not? You know what? I'm a little bit overrunning on time, but seeing as I've got my Facebook page open, and by the way, if you just want to send me a friend request, that's absolutely fine. So you'll find me at some point. But because that way you've got access to my albums, then I think I just share all of these albums because it's just my hobby stuff I put on here. I don't use Facebook for what you probably should use it for, like what I've done on holiday and stuff. I've got an album called My Brother's Crazy Necrons in here somewhere. There you go. Right, okay. Let's see if I can find anything. Okay, yeah, here we go. This is actually, let's have a look. Okay, so here's me working with a hexagonal masking pattern. And we weren't filming these. This is going back some years now, so this is going back a few years. And it started off with this crazy blue hex pattern, which we did all over stuff. It was just a lot of masking and a lot of setting up. And as you can see, we did this sort of ghost fade and those kind of things. And then we introduced this black outline. Now, bear in mind, this is just my brother's scheme, so he was sat behind me going, try this, try that. And in fairness, I think it kind of worked out. I really like his Necron army. It's got a real ghostly kind of feel to it. So there you are. There's a good example of how it was turning out. And he's done a lot of sort of rich colours and metallics, golds, metallic purples, and all sorts. Of course, I can't see the metallic purple, but you get the idea. So that was the basis. Now, bear in mind, that's the basis of his colour scheme. After that, he went off and did all the detail work and those kind of things. Yeah, that was great fun to work on. Oh, wow. This was, I forgot about this. We actually lit a bunch of monoliths. So this was just sort of a bunch of batteries and wires and a little light box created behind the door there. And the light box was so it gave a consistent sort of glow from the center. And as you can see, we lit all the rods up and those kind of things. Now, like I say, this is pre-channel, so I didn't film any of this. But maybe I should do a lighting tutorial and stuff like that. They were great fun. And even just knocking the lights off a bit, this massive green glow coming out of them just looked like great fun. So there you go. So why did I mention that? I can't even remember how I got onto my brother's Necrons. Oh, because of the Satan and all the rest. Yeah, there you go. So it's for my brother's army. And he's spent ages thinking what he's going to do in terms of colour scheme for the Satan. So he's taken over the airbrushing now, actually. I mean, he's got all the kit now as well. So and I think the next time I see him, I'm going to give him a little tutorial just on some of that last stuff. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll film that. Why not? We'll do a sit along with Rich and learn to do crazy hexagonal shapes. All of that stuff was free-handed, or rather held mass. So nothing was stuck down. And bear in mind we were going for a sort of glowy effect. That was what we were doing. What mass did we use? Right, they were the nylon ones, so let's just go with that at the moment. So they were the nylon reusable ones, so they weren't stuck down. I was having to snip and pin them down. I'm just seeing if I can get a picture up, so give me a second, guys. Okay, I mean, right, I tell you what, I've got a picture of the mask in action. So as you can see there, I'm literally just holding it to the model. So you do have to be careful. You need to pull the brush back a bit because you don't want to overspray. You don't want it to go underneath the mask, sort of flipping. So I sort of pull the brush back a bit. That's the minimum distance I'd work at, which made it tricky because some of the work I was doing when you actually look at the hexagonal thing I was doing was I was trying to avoid the center of the hex. So there's a slight lighter effect there. What I actually did to enforce that later is I went back over with white and just punched a dot of white spray into the center of each one of those hexes. And it just made them stand out a little bit more, basically. It took a bit more time, but okay, you can see it happening there, look. Not a huge image, and it's slightly out of focus, so apologies, but you get the idea. Okay, where were we? So, who made the hexagonal ones? I will find out from my brother. And you're probably right, Ikaria. It probably is Anarchy Models. I think it was. So what else have we got going on? Let me just check back up the thing before I jump back to the bottom. Fought for the day. If Sam is a big spoon and Magic Mike a little spoon, does that make Phil a ladle? Possibly. Maybe a salad bowl. Hippo? Haha, careful now. Don't know. Don't know what that's a reference to, but we'll find out later. I'll scroll back up and find out. Mike is the rusty spoon. Oh, we're back onto the rusty spoon, which I have to say I don't quite get the rusty spoon thing, but I missed that whole internet schnizzle where stuff kicked off with rusty spoons. But I will try and find out what the hell all that's about. Right, nice work, love it. It's original. DJ the Lucky One, thank you very much, man. Yeah, I certainly haven't seen a scheme like that before. And it was how can I say, it was an evolving paint scheme. We started off in one thing and ended up somewhere completely different by the end, and that was just my brother saying, "Oh, I'd like this, and can we try that?" So it just evolved. And yeah, it's nice. I like it. I like his army. And I played a game against it at the weekend. We didn't film it for about Report because it was his first 40k game, and he's got a lot to learn. So it was, 1,000 points, but it took us a while to get through the game. And just because he was literally, you can imagine what it's like. It's a new rule system and a new codex from the ground up. But we got there, and he won as well. He beat me on points. That resurrection. Please, less of that. Right, Big Mac Danskill, nice scheme for Necrons. That, thank you very much, sir. I think I've done the masking things kablams when he relaunches the custom stencil site. I'm planning to use a Tyvek for the stencil material. Tyvek, you're gonna have to explain what Tyvek is. I'm assuming, is that the nylon-y stuff that I was talking about there? Was that an unbearded Phil? Whoa, it's surreal. You're so sharp. You're so fast. Let's get that up. Yeah, there you go. Unbearded. I mean, I've got, got my sideburns going and pulling off the sideburns. But yeah, that's pre-beard. Although it's worth mentioning, for about 2 years, I used to grow a beard in the winter and then shave it off for the summer. So I had like a summer coat and a winter coat. And yeah, I can just, choose to grow a beard in the space of half a year easily. Bless my chin. But this is the first year that I've gone all the way through. I've survived summer with a beard. And normally I lose patience with it, and I just get one too many flies stuck in it or something like that, and I decide I've had enough. So you're right. Well spotted, Surreal. You get the most paying attention award. Rusty Spoon's Soundgarden song. Okay, right. I'm over by about 15 minutes, and I need to call it a night. So I will quickly cover. Tyvek is like paper but waterproof and doesn't rip. He has a wallet made of it, so there you go. No shave November. Why don't we all do that then? I think that's the case. Right, so we've got all the Unterrible paper stuff going off, and Akari is saying support us on free or premium subscription, the latter giving you access to exclusive videos and back reps and guides on paper tips, and makes all of this possible. So, well, I think it's just really to say, yes, please check out the community. That's Wargamer Online Space Community on Facebook. We've also checked out Wargamer Online, our Facebook page. Wargameronline.com is our website, where you can sign up for either a free account or a premium account. Premium helps supports us to do lots more of this wonderful stuff. And what else? Oh, check us out on YouTube as well, and like and subscribe. And thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I do need to call it a night. I think I'm at the limit of what I'm capable of doing at the moment. with my crazy back. So I hope you all have a wonderful hobby week. Sam will be back on Friday, I believe, with the hobby hangout. I took over this week's, made a proper crazy hash of it, but Sam will be back and it will be under control and all the rest. Hold on a second, I've left the wrong page up for ages, haven't I? Yes, Sam will be back on Friday. I don't know whether Rachel and or Mike and or a bunch of other people will be joining him, but good night. Hope you've had fun, and we'll see you again soon. Oh, and thank you very much, Steve, for that donation. That's much appreciated, mate. See you guys. Bye.